Chapter 69, White Underwear Flag. Lu Weinan was sick of eating the meat of poisonous clawed beasts these days. Relying on his mutant iron-feathered bird beast soul, he flew into dark swamp to hunt mutant creatures and only killed this one poisonous clawed beast in days. This beast was larger than a cow, and he had been eating its meat for more than half a month and still had a thigh left. He had only gained 5 mutant geno points from it so far. Just now, he had gained 1 mutant geno point already by eating just a piece of meat from the pot. He suddenly understood why Han Sen didn't want to trade. Although both were mutant creatures, the thigh he had was worth much less than what was in Han Sen's pot. Lu Weinan looked at the pot of meat eagerly, and then his eye fell on Han Senator, a knife in hand. He blew a whistle. The iron-feathered bird beat its wings and hovered over his head. "Do you want to trade, or let me beat you up before I eat your stuff?" Lu Weinan was ready to dine and dash. There was no one in Dark Swamp, and no one would even know if he killed Han Senator since he had the iron-feathered bird mount. No one would be his match here. #K off, Han Sen said quietly. "You asked for this, humiliated." Lu Weinan yelled and hacked his knife at Han Senator. Although he had gained the beast soul of mutant iron-feathered bird, he apparently didn't have the same luck in beast soul weapons. His knife was one with 5% Z steel. Han Sen was wearing sacred blood armor, so he was not afraid of such weapon. He didn't even shapeshift into the bloody slayer, but just summoned his mutant sawfish spear and wielded it at Lu's knife. Crack! The sawfish spear cut the knife off as if it were made of tofu and continued to stab at Lu. #T, thought Lu Weinan. He twisted his feet like a snake and barely escaped Han Sen's attack. Without a pause, Lu Weinan quickly ran back with strange but smooth body positions. Han Sen missed several stabs in a row, and Lu swiftly jumped on the back of his bird mount and rose in the air. "How dare you challenge me? I'll just kill you," said Lu Weinan triumphantly, taking his bow and arrow to shoot at Han Sen, who was on the ground. Wings suddenly grew from Han Sen's back and he rose in the air higher and faster than the iron-feathered bird. Damn, Lu Weinan was dumbfounded. How could he know this guy could also fly and even had wings instead of a mount? Subconsciously, Lu Weinan ordered the iron-feathered bird to go higher. Even if what Han Sen had were mutant beast soul wings, he wouldn't be able to fly too fast or too high. The iron-feathered bird should be able to get rid of him. But soon Lu Weinan found himself completely wrong. His enemy could fly not only very high, but also very fast, catching up with him in the blink of an eye. Who is this monster? His wings couldn't be sacred blood, right? Lu Weinan almost burst into tears. He didn't expect his enemy to be so strong. With his wings and his golden armor and spear, Han Sen looked more like an angel than a human. Having caught up with Lu Weinan, Han Sen poked the spear at him. All Lu wanted do was to knock his own head on a wall. Why on earth did he try to escape on the back of the iron-feathered bird? Now he couldn't even use his body positions. Sitting on the bird, he had nowhere to hide. If he moved around, he would fall. Whoosh! The spear was poked into Lu Weinan's butt, leaving a long wound. Lu's soft armor didn't stop the spearhead at all. Brother, calm down, this is just a misunderstanding," Lu Weinan shouted hurriedly. Han Sen ignored him and stabbed at him again, making a symmetrical wound on the other side of his butt. Blood started to ooze from the wounds. "Big brother, uncle, I was wrong. Stop poking or I will die. I surrender," Lu Weinan screamed while begging for mercy. Han Sen ignored him and kept poking. Lu Weinan saw the horrifying and shining gold spear and cried, "Big brother, please slow down. We are both men. It will do you no good if you kill me. You see, I have a flying mount, which will be of some use to you if you need me to run some errands for you." Ouch! Lu Weinan was stabbed again and his face had turned pale. He was bleeding too much and he would die before long. He looked down at himself and saw he was wearing black all over. Lu reached into his clothes and ripped off his white underwear stained with blood. Waving his underwear in one hand, he cried, "Big brother, don't poke. I surrender. We can have a discussion. Isn't it true that we have a policy in the Alliance to offer good treatment to the captives?" Han Sen was silent all the time. Lu Weinan thought Han Sen couldn't hear him because the wind was too loud in flying. That's why he thought of the universal way of surrender, to wave a white flag. Han Sen saw Lu Weinan waving his ripped underwear and almost laughed out loud. "Fly back," he held his laughter back and ordered. Lu Weinan was suddenly overjoyed, and quickly ordered the mutant iron-feathered bird to go back where he met Han Sen. When they were back to the place where the fire was made, the pot of meat was still there. Lu Weinan fell to the ground and screamed as he pulled the wounds on his buttocks. "So, tell me, how are you going to compensate me for my loss?" Han Sen smiled and looked at Lu Weinan, who was covering his ass with both hands. Lu Weinan's face suddenly went stiff. "Big brother, I'll give you whatever you want, except for this iron-feathered bird. You can take your pick." He summoned several beast souls and said bitterly, "These are all I have. Please forgive me." Han Sen checked the 7 or 8 beast souls summoned by Lu Weinan, and there was even a mutant beast soul. He knew Lu was definitely holding back. But since Lu had summoned a mutant beast soul, it meant that he would like to give away the mutant beast soul for his life. At the same time, he was using this beast soul to decline Han Sen's asking for the iron-feathered bird before Han Sen even asked. He was depending on the bird to survive here and wouldn't give it up for the world. That mutant beast soul. "And you, before I leave Dark Swamp, you have to follow my command." Han Sen thought this kid could be of some use. Also, Han Sen didn't want him to wander alone. If Lu found the forest first and killed the mutant black stingers, Han Sen's ultimate purpose of this trip would be defeated. Chapter 70, Inferior to a Cat. Lu Weinan agreed, but remained alert when he transferred the mutant beast soul to Han Sen, worried that Han Sen would kill him once having the beast soul. Fortunately, Han Sen did not attempt to kill him after receiving the mutant beast soul. He returned to the fire and used a cup to take out some soup. To Lu's surprise, Han Sen only took some soup and none of the meat. Although there would be some geno points in the soup, most geno points would remain in the meat. Why would Han Sen only drink the soup? While Lu Weinan was puzzled, he saw Han Sen had summoned a black cat, and put all the meat in the pot into a bowl in front of the cat. The black cat meowed and rushed to the bowl, starting to gobble. Lu Weinan's mouth twitched. He just realized that the meat he just tried to snatch and paid a huge price for turned out to be cat food. Where did this guy come from? Feeding mutant creature meat to a cat, what kind of people would do that? Lu Weinan now really wanted to bang his own head on the wall. He just risked his life fighting for cat food. Thinking of the cat, he was shocked. Among all the beast souls known to men, only a beast soul pet needed to be fed, while mounts and other types didn't. Han Sen's cat was of course not an ordinary animal. It must be a beast soul pet. Now not many could keep a beast soul pet. A beast soul pet didn't have any ability to fight in the beginning and had to be fed the meat of different creatures to grow. When it had grown to a certain stage, it would transform once, and after the transformation it would have fighting ability. But it took too much creature meat for a beast soul pet to grow until its transformation. There were people who tried to feed ordinary and primitive beast soul pets, but their fighting ability wasn't strong after the transformation. As for mutant beast soul pets, almost no one would try to feed them, as they would need a lot of mutant creature meat to transform, the amount of which was enough to make several individuals reach max mutant geno points. Who would feed that to a pet? Thinking of this, Lu Weinan thought Han Sen was an impressive person indeed. He thought to himself, this is someone who could afford feeding a mutant beast soul pet. He must be the successor to some powerful family to have received such attention and training. "Big brother, what's your name?" Lu Weinan asked with a smile, wanting to find out about Han Sen's background. "You do not know me?" Han Sen was somewhat surprised to hear the question. He felt odd as Lu Weinan didn't find out from his armor that he was Dollar. Even after seeing his wings, Lu still didn't recognize him, which meant Lu really didn't know about Dollar. "We have seen each other before?" Lu Weinan looked at Han Sen puzzled, misunderstanding Han Sen's reply. "No," Han Sen continued to drink his soup. Lu Weinan suddenly understood that Han Sen was saying that he should have recognized Han Sen, which meant Han Sen was someone famous, which convinced Lu that Han Sen was from a prominent family, or else he wouldn't have made such an arrogant remark. Lu suddenly looked at Han Sen more eagerly. Han Sen just thought that Dollar was so viral on the Skynet, so most people should have heard of him. "When did you come to Dark Swamp?" Han Sen looked at Lu Weinan and asked. Lu Weinan became very enthusiastic and told Han Sen everything he knew. Han Sen finally knew why Lu Weinan had not heard about Dollar. This young man had never teleported back since he entered God's sanctuary a year ago. It looked like he had done pretty well for himself too. Han Sen looked at Lu, surprised. He could not believe that Lu Weinan would be so capable. Lu Weinan knew what Han Sen was thinking from his looks. He blushed and quickly said, "We the Lu specialize in practicing body positions. There is no one that could compare with us in this field. Although I my humble self have no special capabilities, would love to carry the torch. Since I entered God's sanctuary, I've been pushing my limits until I reached the threshold transcendence. Be concise." Han Sen gave him a cold stare. "Ahem, the truth is, we the Lus have great skills of escaping that were handed down in the family, and we knew how to run from danger." Lu Weinan cleared his throat and said. Han Sen now remembered that Lu Weinan's body positions were strange indeed. If Lu Weinan hadn't fled into the sky using his bird mount and lost his advantages, Han Sen wasn't sure whether he was able to hurt Lu. "For the month you have stayed in Dark Swamp, have you seen a forest where the trees are very tall but sparse, and under the trees there were flowers?" asked Han Sen. Lu Weinan thought about it and then shook his head. "I have not seen such a place. I don't think there are tall trees in Dark Swamp." Not knowing if Lu Weinan had told the truth, Han Sen did not ask again. He rested for a while, and hit the road again with Lu after dawn. Lu Weinan's wounds on the butts had not recovered yet. Luckily, he had a flying mount, so he was fine. Every time when it was time to eat, Lu Weinan would stare at Han Sen feeding Meowth with dried fish piece after piece and sigh secretly, feeling himself inferior to a cat. Maybe luck had finally come. At the end of the day, when Lu was complaining that they hadn't seen a single mutant creature the whole day, Han Sen spotted a black hornet the size of a fist in the grass. "Black stinger." Han Sen was surprised and quickly made a gesture to Lu Weinan to remain silent and watch the hornet from here. "Watch the poisonous hornet. Do not disturb it, and do not let it leave your sight," Han Sen said and flew into the sky to look around, as it was often foggy in Dark Swamp. He saw no tall trees or hornet nests in 20 miles. It seems that the black stinger's nest is not near. "Follow it and we may be able to find its nest," thought Han Sen as he flew to Lu Weinan's side and gestured him to quietly follow the black stinger. Lu Weinan guessed what Han Sen wanted to do, and the two silently followed the black stinger. Fortunately, they could both fly, so it wasn't so hard to keep up with the black stinger. Following the black stinger, they flew dozens of miles, and started to see more and more black stingers. Before long, Han Sen suddenly saw a huge tree standing in the swamp. Under its canopy hung a huge black hornet nest the size of a hot air balloon. Chapter 71, Destroy the Nest. Swarms of black stingers flew in and out the nest, and there were at least tens of thousands of them, filling Han Sen and Lu Weinan with dread. "Big brother, You do not mean to kill all these hornets, do you? Looks like they are all primitive creatures. There are so many of them and they can fly. It'd be hard for us to get out safely, Lu Weinan swallowed and said. Han Sen was happy to see the towering old trees and the flowers on the ground. He thought, the poster did not lie. There is indeed such a place. After watching for a while, Han Sen said to Lu Weinan, let's go farther. Lu Weinan had to follow Han Senator. They didn't dare to approach the nests, so they flied high in the sky. The flower field was dozens of miles long and there were tall trees everywhere. There was a huge hornet nest on almost every tree. No one knew how many black stingers there were in this area. It was scary just to think about it. Soon after, Han Sen saw a giant tree that was more than twice as tall as the others. The hornet nest on this giant tree was the size of a castle, and there were scarlet black stingers the size of a pigeon flying in and out from time to time. Lu Weinan looked at the nest eagerly and said, are those scarlet hornets all mutant creatures? How many of them must there be? Han Sen was also a bit dumbfounded. The poster said he had seen one. Although Han Sen had guessed there should be more than one, he didn't predict that there would be a whole nest of them. There must be a beast soul among so many mutant black stingers. Han Sen was excited, realizing it was difficult to handle so many mutant black stingers at the same time. The needle of the mutant black stinger was blood red and at least 2 inches long. It looked very sharp as well. No one could resist the poison on it if stinged. After all, they were mutant creatures. Han Sen didn't want to depend on his sacred blood armor completely. Once the armor was pierced, he would be risking his life. The only fortunate fact was that the closest primitive hornet nest was a mile away, so the primitive black stingers didn't dare to get too close to this area. Comrade Lu, it's time to test your loyalty. Han Sen patted Lu Weinan on the shoulder. Lu Weinan suddenly changed his expression. Big brother, you do not want me to lure the mutant black stingers away, right? I will die. Do not be so pessimistic. Well, you do not really need to go there yourself. Just use your iron-feathered bird to attract their attention and I'll use that opportunity to ruin their nest. When the mutant hornets run wild and scatter around, we could just kill some of the single ones. Han Sen said with a smile. Han Sen said before Lu Weinan could say anything, do a good job, and I will give you 2 mutant hornets when the plan goes through. Think about it, boy. In order to keep Lu Weinan in line, Han Sen promised him the reward first. Lu Weinan suddenly swallowed the reply he had, patted his chest and said, it's my honor to risk everything for you. Tell me what to do, big brother. 2 mutant hornets could gain him quite a few mutant geno points. Very good, I am seeing great things in you. You are responsible for directing your iron-feathered bird to poke at the nest and attract most hornets away. But don't let the bird fly too high. If the hornets couldn't follow, they would return to the nest. Try to keep them away as long as possible, and I'll take care of the rest, Han Sen said. Lu Weinan looked surprisedly at Han Sen. Even if I can get most of the hornets away from the nest, there are certainly some remaining inside. Are you gonna be fine walking over like this? Lu Weinan did not expect that Han Sen would risk approaching the nest himself, which was far more dangerous than his part. He wasn't in direct danger by using the iron-feathered bird to lure hornets away. If things got bad, he could also take the beast soul bird back. The fortress-like hornet nest was connected to the tree trunk, and it wouldn't be easy to take down. I have a plan. Just buy me some time and do not let those hornets come back too fast, Han Sen said calmly. As long as the majority of mutant black stingers were lured away, he wasn't afraid of a dozen that might still be in the nest. Will do. Lu Weinan hid behind a boulder with Han Sen and commanded his iron-feathered bird to seize a large stone with its claws and flew above the nest. Bang! The iron-feathered bird dropped the stone at the nest and the 3-foot-long stone made a big hole in the nest. With a buzzing sound, mutant black stingers rushed out from the nest madly toward the iron-feathered bird like a scarlet cloud. Lu Weinan quickly commanded the iron-feathered bird to lead the mutant black stingers away. Han Sen was watching the nest closely all the time and saw almost no mutant black stingers around the nest. When the mutant black stingers were led dozens of yards away, Han Sen suddenly summoned the beast souls of the purple-winged dragon and bloody slayer. With the mutant sawfish spear in hand, he flew toward the nest, looking like a winged centaur warrior from the myth. Almost just in the blink of an eye, Han Sen threw himself at the nest, breaking the nest badly. Swinging the spear into a storm, he tore the nest apart as if it were made of paper. Some mutant black stingers were trying to attack him, but were all killed with the spear in a short while. None could stop him. There was a mutant black stinger that approached him, and its sting didn't even pierce his armor, leaving only a small white mark on it. Lu Weinan was shocked. He knew Han Sen was strong but didn't realize Han Sen had such great shape-shifting beast soul. When the better half of the huge hornet nest had been destroyed by Han Sen, a hornet twice the size of a mutant one flew out, its whole body transparent as red crystal. The moment this biggest hornet flew out, all the mutant hornets that were lured away by the bird all flew back to the nest, as if they could feel something. "Be careful. The hornets are all back. That may be their queen," Lu Weinan roared. Chapter 72, Hunting Frenzy. Lu Weinan's heart was trembling. The swarm was only about 600 feet from Han Senator. With the speed of the hornets, they could make it back in seconds. In addition, the queen hornet, which could be sacred blood, was eyeing Han Senator. His situation was critical. Looking at the queen hornet flying over, Han Sen narrowed his eyes, stepped back and threw the mutant sawfish spear at it. The queen was too fast and dodged the spear at a short distance. When Lu Weinan was lamenting the loss, Han Sen's majestic golden figure had rushed to face the queen, hacking a gleaming katana at the queen hornet. That katana was so swift that even the sacred blood queen hornet couldn't dodge it and was cut into halves by Han Sen. Sacred blood black stinger killed. No beast soul gained. Eat its meat to gain 0 to 10 sacred geno points randomly. With that wonderful voice, Han Sen rocketed into the sky without any pause. The swarm chased Han Sen into the sky, but could not to catch up with him or fly any higher than half a mile above the ground. Han Sen turned beautifully and made a big circle before he returned to the side of Lu Weinan. Lu Weinan was very impressed. From destroying the hornet nest to killing the queen to getting rid of the swarm, Han Sen's movements were so smooth and clean that he felt like he was watching an action movie. Awesome, really awesome. Lu Weinan gave Han Sen a thumbs up. He was sincere. Just my routine. Han Sen laughed but kept his eyes on the swarm. He didn't have the time to get the body of the queen hornet out, but it was fine. The nest was destroyed and the queen was killed. These hornets would go through a chaotic phase, which would be Han Sen's best opportunity. Sure enough, after suffering major blows, the swarm was a mess. Many mutant black stingers had left the swarm. You continue to harass the swarm with your iron-feathered bird, and I will go hunt the single black stingers. Han Sen flapped his wings and approached a mutant black stinger flying away from the swarm. Although his shape-shifting time was up, Han Sen was still able to use Bladestorm with the Shura katana to kill the mutant black stinger. Just now he was only able to kill the sacred blood black stinger with one blow because he used the strength of Bladestorm to cut on its fragile waist. Mutant black stinger killed. No beast soul gained. Eat its meat to gain 0 to 10 mutant geno points randomly. Although he hadn't gained a beast soul yet, Han Sen was not worried at all as there were at least thousands of mutant black stingers here and he would surely get a beast soul sooner or later. Taking the dead black stingers back, Han Sen directly gave them to Lu Weinan. He didn't want to bother preparing the body. As the black stingers were poisonous, only parts of the body were edible and the rest had to be removed. Although it was nothing difficult, it was quite troublesome. Han Sen continued to fly out to kill more single black stingers. With the collaboration with Lu, Han Sen hunted more than 20 black stingers in a day. The only pity was that Han Sen still did not get a beast soul. Han Sen was not in a hurry. The iron-feathered bird was constantly harassing the hornets, which made it difficult for them to rebuild their nest. The two men had enough time to hunt. For several days, Han Sen had been hunting mutant black stingers. On the fourth day, he finally heard the voice saying, "Mutant black stinger killed. Beast soul of mutant black stinger gained. Eat its meat to gain 0 to 10 mutant geno points randomly." Finally, Han Sen thought in ecstasy, though not showing it on his face or summoning the black stinger beast soul. He did not want others to see Dollar shooting arrows and thus connect Han Sen with Dollar. These mutant black stingers are quite enough. We could not carry more anyway. On the fifth day, Han Sen had hunted nearly 80 mutant black stingers. Han Sen gave Lu Weinan the 2 mutant black stingers he had promised. Lu used the bird to lure the swarm away several times and had done a good job. Han Sen was quite satisfied. Great! Lu Weinan nodded, regretting not having asked for more mutant black stingers. Han Sen had dozens of them and all he got was 2. But even so, it had been a great trip, much better than his own gain in Dark Swamp. Use the iron-feathered bird to drive the hornets away one more time and I will go get the body of the queen, said Han Sen. Lu Weinan quickly nodded, and Han Sen retrieved the 2 parts of the queen hornet. Lu enviously watched Han Sen putting the body away. Not knowing if the queen hornet was sacred blood, he was still coveting it. Han Sen quickly prepared the queen hornet's meat, took out the poisonous and inedible parts and made a pot of broth. Eating it up, Han Sen heard the voice 4 times. Sacred blood black stinger meat eaten. 1 sacred geno point gained. Sacred blood black stinger meat eaten. 1 sacred geno point gained. The queen black stinger had contributed 4 more sacred geno points. This is the end of our collaboration. You take care. Han Sen took his own mutant black stingers and got up to leave. These days he ate a lot of mutant black stingers and now had 47 mutant geno points. With 4 more sacred geno points from the queen, his sacred geno points were now 29. It had been a fruitful trip and now he needed to prepare the dead mutant black stingers he had and trade them for cash. Brother, can we continue to collaborate? I'll follow your lead. No question asked. Lu Weinan quickly got up and said. He had tasted sweetness from this collaboration and trusted Han Sen as well. He would never suffer losses from working with such a person. Looking at Lu Weinan, Han Sen pondered and said, I do not have much time to hunt together. If I'm recruiting people to join me, I will tie a piece of cloth with my name on it to the crooked tree on the west side of Steel Armor Shelter. If you are interested in participating, just go to Zephyr Valley and wait for me. Brother, you have not told me what your name is? Lu Weinan quickly asked. Go back and go on the Skynet. You will find out. Han Sen smiled, took his own package and flew away. Chapter 73, Martial Ring. Han Sen returned to Steel Armor Shelter, expecting trouble from Qin Xian as he had disappeared for so many days. However, he did not see Qin Xian at all. Not just Qin Xian, there was almost no one on the streets. The entire Steel Armor Shelter seemed empty. Finally seeing a man hurrying through the street, Han Sen quickly stepped forward and asked, Friend, what's happening? Where is everyone? It's you, ass freak. The man recognized Han Sen at first glance. Han Sen rubbed his own nose. Friend, can you tell me where everyone went? The man was very easygoing. He smiled and said to Han Sen, Where can they go? To the martial ring, of course. This year's martial arts contest has already begun. People are talking about it in God's sanctuary and on all the planets in the Alliance. You don't know about it? Ahem, I have been sick recently and almost missed such a great event. Can I still register now? Han-sen asked. Haha, you must be hiding from Son of Heaven, the man smiled. Hurry. You can still make it. Thanks so much for the information. Han-sen thanked the man and trotted back to his own room. Putting away the package full of mutant black stingers, he hurried to the Marshall Ring in the shelter. There was no doubt that the Marshall Ring was the most magnificent building in the shelter. It looked like the Colosseum in Rome and could accommodate at least 100,000 audience. What was different from the Colosseum was that it was built with metal, which made it look like a steel monster. Han-sen ran to a gate of the Marshall Ring. There was a gate every 60 feet around the round Marshall Ring, and each one of them could be used to access the ring. Now, almost everyone in Steel Armor Shelter was already in the Marshall Ring. Han-sen picked a gate at random and placed his palm on the metal gate, where a string of numbers suddenly appeared. 88,888. Han-sen was surprised and then realized this must be his code, as he should be the 88,888th person to enter the Marshall Ring. The martial arts contest was also arranged according to these codes. Only those entering the Marshall Ring for the first time would be assigned this number. So the next time he came in, there wouldn't be a second number. As the metal gate opened, Han-sen went through a path that felt like a tunnel. When he came out, he was in a venue larger than where the Olympics were hosted. The stands were full of people. Above the ring floated a huge crystal stele full of groups of codes. There were 100 codes in each group, which meant these 100 people were arranged in the same match. Han-sen had learned at school that the martial arts contest in each shelter operated automatically and humans couldn't interfere in it. The preliminary round was conducted in groups of 100 people, and only the last one who stayed on stage was qualified to go to the next round. This was indeed a strict selection. Since so many people had registered, the match had only come to group 50-something on the third day of the preliminary round, so Han-sen probably wouldn't have to do anything until tomorrow. Han-sen looked around, searching for Qin Xian and others. Before he could find Qin Xian, he ran into Son of Heaven's gang. Don't let me see you in my group, or you will be dead. Luo Tianyang stared at Han-sen coldly. The last time they met, he was frightened by Han-sen, which was a disgrace to him. Son of Heaven also looked at Han-sen gloomily. Although he did not say it, Han-sen knew from his look that he would try to kill Han-sen at all costs if they were in the same match. I'm afraid I have to let you down. I do not intend to participate in the martial arts contest, Han-sen shrugged and said. Han-sen will certainly participate, but in Dollar's name, so that he could show his real strength. You are unworthy to be called a man. Shame on you. Luo Tianyang said contemptuously, setting the whole gang in an uproar. Son of Heaven ignored Han-sen and walked past him. While he was walking, he smiled and said, Qin Xian, you have improved again. It seems that this year you will still be the champion. You are flattering me. Don't forget that Dollar is also in Steel Armor Shelter, Qin Xian said casually. Han-sen turned and saw Qin Xian, Yang Manli and other major members of the Steel Armor gang. Yang Manli was frowning at him. After talking to Qin Xian, Son of Heaven led his gang away. Qin Xian gave Han-sen a look, while Yang Manli said coldly, Originally I thought you were just timid, but I did not expect you to be such a coward. You don't have a man's dignity and backbone. After she finished, Yang Manli went away with Qin Xian without looking back. When Lu Hongtao passed by Han-sen, he patted Han-sen on the shoulder and smiled, Han-sen, you did the right thing. A man can take temporary setbacks. Step back to enjoy a better view, right? There is no need risking your life. But anyone could see Lu Hongtao's disdain and contempt. It was all written in his face. Other members of Steel Armor Gang were also somewhat disgusted by Han Senator. Those who were able to enter the core of Steel Armor Gang were either military school students or recently enlisted soldiers. They certainly despised such cowardice. Han Sen did not explain anything. Everyone thought he didn't want to participate because he was afraid of Luo Tianyang, which worked in his favor. No one would then question why he did not participate or why he wasn't there when Dollar appeared. I do not care how others see me. The most important thing is that my family and I can have a stable life, Han Sen thought to himself. Starry Group was so powerful that he didn't have the resources to counter them at the moment. If Son of Heaven knew he was Dollar now and tried to harm him in the alliance, even he wasn't afraid, what would happen to his mother and sister? I need to be more powerful. Han Sen came out of the martial ring, looking down. There was no point of staying as it wouldn't be his turn today anyway. After he teleported to the teleport station on planet Roka, Qin Xian stopped him there and called him to her office. You are afraid of Son of Heaven? Qin Xian stared at him, her eyes were like daggers that could pierce his thoughts. Yes. Han Sen nodded, he had to be afraid. Hearing Han Sen's answer, Qin Xian didn't show disappointment but continued to ask, because of your family?